Hey everyone, my name's David. I'm the author of this book, The Trail Provides, and this is my through hiking memoir that I wrote a couple years ago. And the subject of this video is going to be about how to start and actually finish your book. This will be the first in a series of videos that I'll be doing about self-publishing, and so I hope to inspire you to go through this process from beginning to end and actually do the thing. So I think so this video is going to be for someone who feels as if they want to share their story with the world and open their heart and do so through writing. So where to begin? I think this is where the majority of people get hung up. There's going to be, if you haven't already started and this is a desire that you have, there's going to be some internal narratives that you are dealing with that's acting as resistance. And so our goal is to transcend the resistance, to get out of our own ways and to begin. So some of these examples of internal narratives that you could be managing right now are, I know for me, a big one was, I'm not a writer. Writers are people who write well and who are good at writing, and I'm not good at writing, so I'm not a writer, and therefore I can't write a book. So perhaps you're dealing with something like this, some issue of identity, not identifying as a writer. Perhaps you are overwhelmed with the whole process. Maybe you might not even be starting because there seems like there's so many steps. You imagine a book and what that looks like and how many words you need to write, and maybe it needs to be 300 pages in your mind, and perhaps you might be thinking about marketing the book, public speaking, all of this future think is getting in the way of actually sitting down and doing the work. And finally, another piece of resistance that you might be experiencing is just not knowing, how do I start? How do I begin? How do I write a book? Well, everyone's process is going to be different. And the goal of writing is going to be a process of self-discovery. You begin and you just start uncovering the process as you go. You might see other videos or other information sources telling you that you need an outline or that you need this, you need that. And perhaps you do. If that resonates with you, then, do that. But understand that at a certain point, what's keeping you from not having a finished book is actually starting the process of writing. So this is the biggest hang up, and if only you would just start, then the rest would unfold. And I know for me, this was a very difficult process at first because I know for me, I was working on the beginning of my book and rewriting the beginning first few paragraphs over and over. And I was thinking in my mind, well, how does my book start? What's the intro? And what I realized much later on is that all that time that I actually spent doing this beginning intro part of the book was necessary, but it wasn't productive in the sense that I actually ended up scrapping the entire intro. multiple times and rewriting it and rewriting it. And so I wouldn't have been able to discover that without actually starting. And once you start getting going, then you'll realize what are the pieces that you need to improve upon. So you'll start to, like, for me, I was realizing that there's all these different dimensions to writing. There's punctuation, there's grammar, spelling, there's dialogue, there's descriptive writing, there's transitions, there's allowing things to flow, there's character arcs and character development. And all of this can feel overwhelming if you let it. But the way to approach this is actually just to start and uncover the realization that these are things that you need to work on. So instead of studying how do I descriptive write something, just start telling your story. And when it comes to a point where something needs to be described and you're having trouble doing that, well, then you'll start to realize, oh, this is something I could work on. And you'll solve for the problems in the moment rather than solving for them ahead of time. So once you reach this point where you're trying to describe your bedroom or the cafe, then you'll start to look up, okay, well, what grounds someone in a cafe? Is it the smells? Is it the tastes, the touches? And you'll begin to tap into your descriptive writing skills and research those skills once you reach that point. But until you reach that point, all that studying is just, it's a roundabout way of doing things. And so what you're going to want to do, and what I've found to be most helpful rather, is that writing to me is a process of presence. So the mind is going to want to think about all these future scenarios, about marketing, about public speaking, about descriptive writing, and oh no, I don't know punctuation, I don't know this, I don't know that. But really, your goal is to remain aware of the thinking mind and continue to come back to the writing, the actual doing of things, rather than the thinking. Because it's easy to get caught up and identified with the thinking. And the real work is done in the present moment. And so again, the process is coming back again and again and starting over. And you're unable to start over if you haven't started yet. So I invite you to do this. I think it's important to give yourself the permission to write a book and to be a writer. No one else is going to give you this permission. And you don't even have to identify as a writer. At first, I didn't either. And this is something that'll come in time. Just commit to a process of sitting down every day for a little while and writing. So a writer, in my mind, is not actually someone who's good at writing. It's someone who writes every day. And by nature of the writing, they improve over time. I think it's much more important what you say than how you say it. I think a lot of people get caught up in wanting to write something descriptively and with flowery language and make it sound good. And really, I think this has its place. But for you and for me, for people who are starting out as writers early on in their careers, our true work is finding our voice and putting words to paper and letting the process unfold. Because what audiences want to read and what readers want to read and hear about is not some flowery language. They want to hear your story. They want to hear about you and what you've learned and what it's like to be you. What is it like to have feelings and to have thoughts um, that are uniquely yours? Okay, so this is the process of writing. And none of this can be accomplished without you just starting. So the video could end there. I think I'll say a couple more things, more practical things about how to get going and how to overcome feeling stuck and actually finishing. So, how to start, open up your Word document and start typing. Again, you'll run into areas and aspects of the story where you'll feel like you're stuck. Oh, I don't know how to do this. I don't really know what comes next. Just accept this and keep going. Keep going. Keep writing. A good piece of advice I got for something called writer's block is to just write one more word. Just write one word after that if you feel stuck. And then what you'll find is that, okay, well, I've written one word, another word needs to come after that. And slowly but surely, you'll find that you're writing word after word after word. You're creating sentences, you're creating paragraphs, and you're creating pages and then chapters. So just stick with it. Commit to the process of writing. Commit to the process of actually finishing. And at first, you might not know what finishing looks like, but as you continue, you'll come to a point, you'll know through feeling. You won't know through the intellectual mind. The finish won't come once it hits a certain amount of words or pages. It'll be when you are ready to move on and really share this thing and share your work and open your heart with the world. And what you'll find through sharing your story is that you are essentially holding up a giant magnet to the world, and you're attracting other people, readers, you're inviting them into your life and into your mind, and you're inviting them to walk with you on this journey that you're sharing with them. And it's quite intimate. And so when you're writing, again, continue to drop into the present moment and feel your body, feel your breath, and use this as a tool for descriptive writing and ground yourself in the present moment. So I think that's all I have to say. I think there could be so much more that could be said, and I'll continue to come out with more videos on the subject of self-publishing and writing. So stay tuned for those videos. I hope this was helpful. Let me know if it was in the comments. I'd love to hear from you if you are writing something and wanting to share this with the world. What's keeping you from doing that? Was it just permission, needing permission from someone else or from yourself? And let me know what other topics would be useful for you to hear about, and I'll shoot a video about this subject. So, all right, thank you for listening. Subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.